Right, so last video we implement that home page and login page, right? So then after on successful login we have navigate into the dashboard page. So in this video we will create our dashboard. So for this I am going to create a table in my database, then after retrieve values from the database into our JSP page, right? Then after we can implement CRUD operation on that information. So right, we will open our database. Right, so we have our database which is Safari DB. Then I have only one table here, so I'm going to create another table for example we'll take this person as a traveler, right? So we'll take this person as a traveler, then after we'll create table for that person, right? So before that, in dashboard page I'm going to add some content for this one. Instead of this h1 tag, so we can add content like I'm going to give a table, right? So before that we'll create a main element with margin 4 from the outside. Right, so then not inside this division I'm going to create this to tag with the welcome to admin dashboard. So we'll align this text into the center. And I'm going to give some margin. So before that we'll execute this one. I'm going to run this program. So run as run on server. So we'll see the output for our dashboard, right? Right, so we have nice dashboard. Now I'm going to add a table here for the content. Then not we'll add that values through the database. And also we'll add our logout button. For that we can take a copy of this unordered list and we can paste it in the dashboard, right? So there will be a logout button. So we'll add link later. Till that I am going to place hash symbol. Now we have logout button also. So because we already log in when it comes to admin page. Okay, so we'll create our table. So before that I am going to add another anchor tag to add the new employee, right? So for that we can use href element, add new employee. So class name will be button. I'm going to use as a color, primary color. It will be small size button. Let's see our add employee button. Right, so we have a new employee button. So we'll text start, right? I don't want to align this into the center. Let's see. Right, nice. Then we can add our table. So I'm going to add the table here. Bootstrap class table. So for the attribute I am going to add ID first, right? There will be ID. Then now we can add name. After that we'll add email. Then after passport number. For the traveler we are collecting this information, right? Passport number. Then now I'm going to collect, we can collect gender, right? Gender and age also, or you can collect date of birth. I'm going to collect age from the traveler. So after that I'm going to add one header for the action, right? That means update and delete operation for each and every row. Okay, so we have this nice table. Then now we will add some dummy attribute for this table. For that, instead of t head, I'm going to use t body, table body section. The first table row we will add values, right? So table data ID will be 1, name will be solo developer, then after email will be solo4developer@gmail.com. right? So passport number we will use some dummy passport number, right? No need to use real one. Table data, then after gender is male, age will be 25, and we can give our action, right? So we have given name, email, passport number, gender, age. For the action I am going to give 2 anchor tag, href first one for the update .jsp or update, then after this one for the update, right? So request will be update, then second one will be delete. So we need to send ID of this particular row when we actually create this information. Just for now I am going to take this dummy information and paste it 2 times. So we'll change ID into 2, ID will be 3, this one will be 2, right? Now you can see we have this information, right? Your final output for this table will be like this. Now we will create the database for this table, right? So before that I am going to add style for this 2 button. We'll use green color for this one and red color for the delete button. Right, so I'm going to make this 2 button nice small, so we can use button small. Right, so your final output will be something like this when we get this information from the database. Okay, so we'll open our MySQL workbench. Then now I'm going to open my table. Let's see what are the values in this table. We have this one, right? So we'll create a new table. So use Safari DB. Then now I'm going to create a table with the name traveler. So for the traveler database there will be ID, it will be integer, auto increment, and this will be our primary key for this table. Name Vacha, 100 characters, not a null. Then after email again Vacha, we'll use 100 characters, not null. So passport number I'm going to use Vacha for this one also, 50 characters, right? Then after gender again Vacha, we'll use 20 characters, and age it will be integer. Right, so we'll use this table, and then after we'll insert some values into this table, and then after we can show that values in our dashboard, right? So we have ID, name, email, passport, gender and age column in this table. Right, you can see we have successfully created this table. Now I'm going to insert some values into this traveler table. For the name, email and passport. Then after gender and age, values will be, name will be sd at gmail.com, passport number will be some random number, then after gender will be male, age will be 24. Right, so you can see we have executed this one. So if you select this table rows, then after there will be one row, right, with this information ID will be automatically incremented. Right, so we'll move into our Eclipse application. Then after we'll generate this content dynamically from the database. Right, so to navigate into this dashboard, from the login controller we type our send request as a dashboard.jsp. I'm going to remove this JSP. Instead of that, I'm going to type dashboard to send redirect request name, right? Then after we'll write case for this one. Case if a request is dashboard, on that time we'll create a method show dashboard. When you call this method, it will return all the values from the database and it will show that information inside our dashboard page, right? So for this I'm going to generate this method. Right, so in the data access object class we'll create a method to get this all information, right? For that, or else you can create method here. We are getting list of users, that means list of travelers. Right, so we are getting list of traveler, right? So because of that we need to create a model class for this traveler. I'm going to right click on this table, then after new class, class name will be traveler. So you need to add all that attribute column you add in that table as a variable in this class. So we will have integer ID, string name, email, then after string password, passport, right, string gender and integer age. So you need to create all these values. Right, so I have created this attribute. Then after we need to add getters and setters to get this variable and set this variable. So we will use default access modifier as a private, right? So I'm not going to use that one. If you want, you can use. So we'll generate getters and setters. I'm going to select all the attribute, then I will generate getters and setters method, get age, set gender, get gender, this kind of method. So after that we need to generate two string method because we are going to return these values. For that again go to source, generate two string method. So then I am going to generate constructor using all the field and constructor without ID, right? For the update method I'm going to generate constructor without ID. So we untick the ID and generate. Now we have this constructor with all the attribute, this one without ID. Then not a default constructor without any attribute. So you can deselect all, then after generate. Right, in the module class create all the variable, then after create tree constructor, default one, then with the attribute and without ID attribute. Then after two string method, after that getters and setters for all this variable, right? Okay, let's move back into our login controller. So TRS will be this traveler list name, right? So this will be new array list. So I have imported this package by pressing Ctrl Shift O. Then after TRS will be equal to data access object dot get all travelers. So this will return all the travelers from the database, right? For this we need to create this method inside our where location in our data access object class. So it will return list of users, right? Okay, so we'll create list of travelers here. Again I'm going to use same letter. TRS will be equal to new array list. Right, so we'll return this TRS end of this function. Now I'm going to write a query to select all values from this database, right? So we can write a string query or SQL will be select all from traveler table. So we have created this table. Then after I'm going to return all the values from this traveler table. And we'll create a connection variable also. Connection con will be db connection. So db connection mean our method we create in the previous video, right? It will return the database connection. Right, so we'll write prepare this statement. Before that I'm going to use try catch block. e.print stack trace. Then after prepare this statement, ps variable name will be equal to connection dot prepare statement for the query. So this will return a multiple row query, right? That means so this will here we are selecting all the rows. Since my database now have only one row, but there may be more than one row in future. So I'm going to create result set object. rs will be equal to ps dot execute query. So it will store all this returning query inside this result set variable, right? So while rs dot next is true, I'm going to get these values one by one. So first we'll get integer id, which is equal to rs dot get integer id, column name id. Then integer name, string name will be equal to rs dot get string name. Like that, email, passport we need to get. Passport will be equal to rs dot get string passport. And we have gender, right? So then after I have age also, string integer age will be equal to rs dot get int age. So now we got these all variables. Then after we can set this variable into our, we have this TRS list of traveler array, right? So I'm going to add each and every row into this traveler array by one individual array object, traveler object, right? So for that we can use TRS dot add new traveler will be TRS mean travelers, right? So id, name, email, passport and gender and age, right? Right, so this is how we need to add this content. So we have added ID, name, email, passport, gender and age. Let's see ID, name, email, passport, gender. I'm going to check my travel object. So we have ID, name, email, passport, gender, age. So what are the data type? So we get to error. Let's see. So let's check our traveler constructor, right? So we have traveler, then after, so we have ID, name, email, passport, gender, integer, age. So now I have saved this file. So I think error was I haven't saved that file, right? Okay, now it is fine. So we will return TRS from this method. So our method name is what? Get all travelers. Okay, from the login controller, now we have called this method. Then after we can send this entire information to the front end, right? So for that I am going to use my request dispatcher class, right? So we'll use request dispatcher. RT will be object name. So I'm going to send request.get request dispatcher into dashboard.jsp file. Now we are sending request to this dashboard.jsp file with this all the traveler information, right? All the traveler information query. So for that I'm going to use variable request dot set attribute. I'm going to set attribute name will be travelers, variable will be TRS. So we are going to forward rd dot forward request and response with this request, right? So we'll add exception to throw these two exception, right? So now we have successfully created this method to get this information from our table. Let's see whether this one is working or not. I'm going to move into dashboard, right? So now there's another important thing. Let's see, here we got error. So we need to add try catch block, right? Now it is fine. Okay, so there's another important thing. Inside dashboard I'm going to use some tag, right? So for this we need to add tag library. In the script tag add symbol tag library, then URI will be path for this tag library, right? So I'm going to add this URL, right? JavaScript tag library, Java Servlet tag library. So for the core we are using this tag, right? So why we use this one? Here you can see we are using JSTL 1.2 version, right? To add this one, as I did in previous video, you need to add this tree file into your library folder. Not this tree, mainly this two for this one, right? For the tag library JSTL. Or else you can move into MUN repository, then after you can download this tag library. So just search for the MUN repository. I will share this in the description as a GitHub link. You can download this JSP file. So here search JSTL, then after you will have this one JSTL. After that you can download this particular tag library from this website, right? I'm going to select the version, then after download the jar file. After that copy that jar file into this folder, this library folder, right? Okay, so we need to add a prefix to identify this section. Prefix will be letter C. You can use any letters. Let's see. right? So okay, so this is not array actually. Let's see. Now I'm going to add this information, right? So instead of adding this line one by one, we can add information from that database query, because we have returned traveler, list of travelers as a traveler object, right? Attribute name will be traveler. We are returning list of traveler into this attribute name. So we can catch this one from the front end, right? That means from the dashboard. So I'm going to add, instead of this one, we'll write right. So here erase prefix, right? We need to add prefix letter correctly. Now okay, so now I'm going to add this information. Instead of this tag, we will use C for each, right? So C for each, I'm going to add catch this attribute. That attribute name is what? So we'll use identify this attribute traveler, but I have sent this as item name will be travelers, right? So let's see this inside our website. Okay, so now it is fine, right? So here I use travelers because I have returned this variable name as a travelers. Then we can access this list of query by using this variable. Okay, so we'll print this thing one by one. Inside table 2, I'm going to add td tag. Then we will add our information. C.out to output this information. Value will be traveler, because I use variable as a traveler. Dot id will be first one. Let's see whether we can see this output or not. I'm going to run this program, run on server. Let's see, it is running. Okay, right, so we can't see any output yet. Let's see whether there is any errors or not. Right, I'm going to remove this content. Then now we will see whether we can see query came from the database. Right, so we will stop the server and run this one again. Let's see the output. So there is no errors, right? Okay, so now I'm going to check whether we are calling this method or not. That means we can output here, right? System.out.println. Alright, so still we haven't called this request, right? So we are in the previous session. I need to move back into the main home page. Then we log in using our credentials. SD123456 is my password. Okay, so I have given SD, right? Let's see our password. So I'm getting wrong credentials. So for the user table 1 2 3 4 5, right? Not 6. It's D 1 2 3 4 5. Right, now you can see we have ID, right? Because now we have implement that request, right? Previous time we were in the normal session, not the request session. Okay, we'll write remaining content in the dashboard. That means I can take a copy of this one, paste it for the name, email, passport, gender and age. So this one for the name, email, passport and gender, and finally age. Right, so I have saved this file. Let's see. Right, so we got this information from the database successfully, right? So now we can add our update and delete button. Then after we can move into the update and delete option. So I'm going to add another TD section, but here we'll add our anchor tag, right? So this one for the update.jsp. I'm going to send ID with this one. So ID will be c.out, value will be traveler.id. Right, so then after we can create our table, right? So this one for the update. I'm going to maximize this screen. Then we need to write delete ahref delete.jsp. ID will be this one for the delete. Okay, so we'll add class name also for this one. Then now we can move into the next option, right? So I'm going to add class name also. Class will be button, success, button small. Okay, let's see this in the browser. Okay, we got error. Let's see. So we got C colon out, right? So I have placed my value. Right, so we need to close our C out, right? For that we can close this here. And for this also like this. Then after so we can close our anchor tag here, right? I'm going to add class name here also. Class name will be button danger, button small. Okay, so let's see this inside the browser. So we got error, right? Still start tag anchor not close. So we have closed this one. So we have opening double quotes, then after closing one, matching closing one here. Right now that error was gone, right? So there was issue with these double quotes. You can see we have update and delete button. When I click update, on that time it is sending this ID for the update page. When I click delete, on that time it is sending ID for this page. Okay, we will add another row inside our database. Then now we will move into the update operation. I am going to insert value for this database. So we'll change this information. Now this time name will be Jack, email will be jack@gmail.com, other thing will be same, right? I'm going to run this query. Now we'll have 2 rows. Let's refresh this browser and we can see now we have second ID with the Jack with this information. Now I'm going to click update. On that time ID will be 2, right? So we'll create update method in the next video and add new employee, that means insert and delete, right? So we are going to implement this crud operation. Then after finally we will create logout and session, right? So in this video we create this dashboard page with the tag library. I have added tag library here. So then after we create our data access object to get all the travelers and login control to handle this, show all the users, right, travelers. So we'll meet with the next video for the update operation.